All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
My name is Wendy Graham, and I'm the community manager here at NVIDIA, and I have the winners of both of our contests, several winners with me here today. So, first, I'd like to introduce Michelle Liu. She's the director of simulation technology. Michelle, if you want to talk about a little about what you do at NVIDIA.
Sure. Thanks, Wendy. Hi, I'm Michelle Liu, and I'm the Director of Simulation Technology in the physics team. I have been working in the field of physics simulation for 15 years. Before I joined NVIDIA, I worked in a game studio. So my background is from gaming, actually. So I worked in a game studio to write their in-house physics engine. That job lasts for 4 years. And after that, I saw the opportunity in NVIDIA physics. So yes, luckily I got the job in NVIDIA. Since then, I work on yes, lucky. So since then, I work on a different kind of technology, including rigid body simulation, fluid dynamic, soft body simulation, closed simulation, and also I work in different platform as well. So in the game studio, the main platform is Xbox and PS3. So this is really old tech now, I think. But in NVIDIA, we work in PC and also different game console as well. And also mainly I work on GPU technology. So nice to meet everyone.
Yay! So we are joined here today by Alexey, who is the second place winner of our Marvelous Machines. We have Usama, who's the third place winner of Marvelous Machines, and Simon, who is the second place winner of Create with Marbles, and he's also an honorable mention for the Marvelous Machine contest, and Jeremy Lightcap, who is the third place winner of the Create with Marbles. And I'm so excited you guys are all here. Everyone in NVIDIA just loves these contests. We spend a lot of time in code, spend a lot of time in developing, and you guys turn it into art, and it just blows us away. That's why we love doing these contests, and that's why we want to promote you, because you inspire us to create Omniverse for you guys. And it's really important for all of us here. So yeah, so let's see here. If you I just also want to bring to attention the link at the bottom of the page for the NVIDIA gallery page. You can see all of the submissions and everything that everyone's created for us on Omniverse. And if you want your stuff on there, send it to us, and we will happily put it up there for you guys. Okay, so let's start with our first place winner for the Marvelous Machines. We've got Antonio Covelo.
Yeah.
Let me switch over to his video here. And we'll just talk about a little bit about, commentary. There we go. So, this is the, I believe, the first place winner here for the Marvelous Machines. And I just love it. So, one of the funnest things for me for the Marvelous Marbles is the marbles. I mean, building sets and just watching marbles flow around all of the objects. I just love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they feel
To
so
me-
lifelike.
To me, this scene is amazing, right? It's a kind of like a intricate machine and built on top of everything as well. Look at we asked all the contestants to just bring a small kill scene, just a marvel drop in the scene. But you look at that, tons of marble in there. Each one behave beautifully and rolling around. And then, yeah, I especially like how the scene design. So how intricate all the mechanic in there, just like a real machine, and then just building up everything together. Look at the motion of the marble, beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's very cool. So, let's see here. Who we have next? Alexey. Woo, I'm so glad
Hello.
you. I'm so glad you're able
Yay.
to join us.
Yeah, I'm glad to.
All the way from Russia. I know the time is probably really late for you, so thank you so much for being with us today. Now, I love the lighting in this one. It just the reflections off the metallic materials on the marbles are just beautiful.
Yeah. Initially, when I tried to get metallic property, I set another property for metallic, but metallic don't works, and I think what's happening? And all simple. I just drag change another property value, but not the metallic. And after I change metallic, all works nice. Because initially I have trouble with HDR map and can't understand why I have low reflections.
So
And
do
about light, maybe you see the lights here in clocks. Looks like a moon. This is initially will be happy accident, and after I see this, I think, yeah, this really looks like a moon. I need to play this.
absolutely. So did you have any inspiration while you were creating this? Were you thinking of anything in particular?
Inspiration. I can say about main idea of my creation because I want to reflect in my scenes this cycle of events of our life, this love, joy, or even hate. Uh, everything we do in our lives affects in the world, in the peoples
Mm-hmm.
who we love or who we hate.
Right?
and and sometimes we just need to stop.
That's so deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes we just need to stop this cycle or reverse the cycle to positive way. This is my idea of my scene, and you can see that big dragon with long tail.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
actually the question I want to ask you. How do you thought about, right? Have the whole long dragon in there, and then let all the marble go through all the mechanic in there. How do you come up with that idea? Because I really like that kind of a theme, a dragon, and then it looks extremely cool in there.
Yeah, yeah. The creating this infinity cycle is at beginning will be a huge problem because initially I have more bigger idea. I want to adding terracotta army scene and another
Oh, really?
interesting machines here. I want to create simple soldiers with y z axis, and when marbles will be moved throughout these soldiers will spin around this pivot point. But maybe I do something later when I will have more GPU memory, because finals I have too little FPS for working in scene, and when I build the scene, I have many iterations how to do this cycle works, and sometimes marbles just stuck at some places. You can see sometimes you have 5 or 10 cycles, and on 11 cycle marbles stuck. The physics is awesome. I think works. Looks like real. Some have random moments. And in my blog, I post extension infos about my scene by adding whips and some tricks, because some people ask me, how do you create rotation for your gears, for mechanisms? Some people say, oh, you really did it from these prepared assets. Maybe you grab these machines from anything else, any softwares, but no, all in Omniverse Create. And on Omniverse Create can do more exciting things, I think, because I have some ideas for Omniverse and need to find time to realize it.
Absolutely. Yes. And let us know what you're creating. And I wanted to make sure that everyone knows that Alexey actually took the time to make a tutorial and discuss how he created his scene in Marbles. So you can go to his ArtStation blog, and the link to it is on the screen, and check it out.
I'd just like to say, like, personally, I spent like perhaps a few hours just watching that 1 minute video again and again. It was like the physics systems are so intricate, and like, I mean, I was so fascinated, Bernard. I think I had almost an hour or somewhat chat with Alexey on our Discord server, and just asking how did you do it? And then Alexey was so helpful. He went ahead to talk about how he actually made the physics systems and which one was complex. I mean, like the escalators for the marbles, right? I mean, there's so many systems there. There's like rotation energy being converted to linear motion, and then linear motion is moving the marbles up, and then it's the gear at the bottom that's basically like the one we see right now. At least there's a bit of a lag in the live view, but the marbles are basically being driven by like a lever system, and then the gear kind of hooks the marble that has just come in. It's like, I was like, wow, like how did you even think of that? Very fascinating.
I just get many refs and take many days, maybe 5 days or maybe week, because I at the same time discovering the documentation of Omniverse. This is really cool documentation. Maybe need some points from physics snippets in the grade, but but yeah, I take many times to gather references and discover how it works in real marbles machines, because this is be also my idea to create this realistic like real mans who open a studio and build this machine and how it can works.
I have a question for you. Yeah. I have a question for you, Alexey. So do you when you start, do you create like a small section, like a small machine, and build the machine, or do you start with like a big scene and put those things together at the same time? It's like separate scene. How do you work?
Initially, I think about the scene because I have some vision in my head for a good way to try to draw this idea from my head, but I just have something abstracted. And yeah, I initially think about which machines I need, because I need some elevators, because I don't need to use basic spoon lift and etc. I use this, but one time. Yeah, I create this separate USDs with my lifts, and after this, I adding these USDs to my whole big scene, and create my scene by step by step. First step will be creating machines for my flow, for Marbles flow, and step number 2, this is creating this flow with these machines. This is super long stage for me will be, and after this I just adding details to my scene, for my flow, for my track, yes. And last stage is lighting and rendering, step by step pipeline, just like industry.
So how long is take you to build the whole asset in there? And then how long, I mean, because I'm pretty sure I'm quite confident the visa in there work. So I think most of the time will be, well, if not, please come to talk to me, right? So I believe the most of the time will be how to actually the building up the whole environment in there, right? But also render, because we have the RTX render. So this is a real time and then bounce all the light beautifully. So I also believe that you don't need to spend too much time on that. So please correct me if I'm wrong, right? So I think the majority of the time for you will be spent on how do you build up the scene altogether, right?
Most time I think I spent on these little machines if I create and separate USDs, because at this time I discover the documentation and think about what I can do and what I cannot do. First up, it is understanding how working Revolut join, and after this I just open the examples and learn how these examples work. This is main key for my physics understanding, and I'm not sure how many times I spent to whole scene, because I have a work at Bash 3D and I only have a night. I create maybe half of a month, maybe for all scene at nights after work.
Wow, that's amazing, right? But you well deserved, right? You're second place of it. So beautiful scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to move on to our third place winner, Usama. Let's switch it over. So, just a beautiful scene. Usama, what was your inspiration? I mean, it looks like the Taj Mahal, but tell me about what you were thinking when you were working on this.
Okay, so there's many reasons why the Taj. I mean, I grew up like only 2-3 hours away from the Taj Mahal, right? So many weekends or holidays, my family would just drive us there. I mean, the city of Agra, where the Taj Mahal is, has a lot of other monuments as well, right? So it's a fun weekend getaway as well, and we've had many picnics in front of the Taj, right? So I've seen this growing up, and I've always been fascinated by geometry and like the patterns and just the majestic scale of the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, for this competition, actually, I was thinking of many different things in the beginning. Funnily, I even like how Antonio had the music system. I actually there was a video I saw on YouTube, and I was looking for references. There was something called a pipe dream. Like long back, it had these marbles which were like kind of playing the whole orchestra, and obviously there was. I mean, I was just thinking in the same direction, but then I thought of, okay, what if I'm also, by the way, very fascinated by like steampunk and medieval engineering kind of a fantasy.
Oh, I love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, let's just brainstorm, put all these ideas together, and what do I get? Okay, it looks like a monumental thing. Okay, monument. Yeah, I know the Taj. It's a monument I grew around. What if I use that? But then I need to have gears and steampunk. So it's like this ancient, medieval Indiana Jones kind of a area where
Absolutely.
you push a lever and kind of something opens up. So I mean, I was going around that idea, but then eventually I started building a gear system on the side just to see what it would look like. And I mean, the physics with Omniverse is so amazing. It's so realistic that if I get the ratio of the teeth wrong, it's gonna lock, right? And I didn't know about like how you could actually have like a rotation driven by like in the joint revolution joint, you can actually have like a driver component. So I was like, okay, I need a source of energy. Okay, the marbles have kinetic energy. So when they're at a tower, they'll come down, and then I can use that energy to drive a turbine. And then with that, I can have other gears in there, right? So, I mean, as you would have ancient or medieval aqueducts, right? They would use the force of water, and then they would, drive the whole thing. So that's how I started the whole thing. And then if one gear would get stuck, the whole system would just lock. So I had to kind of, iterate. And Omniverse was, again, very quickly, you could just move things around and, you just see the result right in front of you. Just hit spacebar. I mean, that's the shortcut for play. And yeah, it was fun, just putting things together and see what works, what doesn't work. And usually Mughal architectures tend to have some sort of a water structure in them, they have a very slight slant that kind of causes water to flow, so it's never stagnating. And I tried to have, if you see three canals that would just just cross, go in between the Taj, and in reality the Taj doesn't actually have a canal go in, so obviously this is my spin to it. And then obviously the dome is a very high structure, so I thought, yes, that's where a lot of potential energy would be. And when the marbles come down, they can drive a huge turbine, and internally I could have bigger gears that could move around. So that was the whole thought process.
It's just beautiful. It's just amazing.
That's insane. I feel like the first contest doesn't even compare to what you guys got up to with the physics and the art of it all. It's so crazy.
That's true. And I have a question for you, Usama. So did you have some feel like some limitation with your scene? At some point you were like, oh, I cannot add anything else. I have to stop, and because if I had something else, it's going to break, or I need to.
I'll tell you what, majority of my time actually went in the tower. So I initially was thinking of making a tower first. So one of the minars on the edge, right? So because the space was so constrained, I mean, I only had one spiral that went downwards, but then it felt quite empty. So I had another anti-clockwise spiral going the other way, and which was more squarish instead of more square from the top view. And then I was like, okay, this is the space I've got to work with. So then when I started putting the gears around it, the marbles are actually at the bottom thrown inside, and then there's a turbine inside, but then I had to have another gear that kind of takes the energy from this gear system, so they were in sync. And then I had to basically have gears out on the outside as they would go up. So yes, I was a bit constrained as to how I could, if I added too many gears, the system would become a bit unstable and might start locking. So I had to come up with the right number of gears. Also, if I realized that if you have smaller gears driving bigger gears, that might be a big issue. And sometimes if the driver gear could have a smaller teeth, but then if the driven gear had a smaller teeth, there was a chance of locking. I mean, these are perhaps errors on my end, on getting the mathematics wrong perhaps a bit. But it was a bit of a trial and error in getting the right thing. So yes, in terms of space, I was quite limited. But once I got one tower right, this is where I tried to, I mean, the thing about medieval architectures, geometric architectures, is that there's a lot of symmetry in there and there's a lot of patterns, right? So once I got one tower, I was like, okay, I can just copy this, and now I have 4 minars, right? And then I can be like, oh, then let's make the central structure. And it's just, if you see, there's a lot of symmetry to it. I could just make one and then copy paste and then have a rotation, at 45-degree angles. I have 8 of them, and okay, now I have the structure. And you can get away with this. You don't have to have variations in there, because that's what the art is. It's symmetry. If you go away from the symmetry, it doesn't look good. So in my case, it kind of worked.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
May I comment on one thing?
Yeah.
Yes. So you're talking about the gear interlocking, right? Because I think the reason for that is because you're using revolute joy, right? So you have a rotation in there, and then the spinning is based on the collision. So the different gear have the T, and then all collide together, and then one rotate, and then move the other one. So that is good, right? That means our collision system is working. However, if I'm going to build this kind of structure again, I don't know whether you look at the Fiset snippet. I think it's an example as well. So we have something called gear joy. So the gear joy basically is a create a constraint between two gear in there, but it's no collision between that. It's just the motion, right? When I turn this one turn another side. So that will make sure all your mechanic in there running smoothly. So maybe after this you can try it. Yeah. And
exactly.
Yes, and we all, yeah. Well, we also we see some of the feedback from you as well. So you help us to improve the UI side in the Omniverse. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just beautiful.
Can I ask one question?
Absolutely.
Do you have a engineering background, or did you just kind of trial and error your way through like gear ratios and just playing around with everything?
No, I do have a computer science and engineering background. That's why I identify myself more as a programmer, and I kind of do some art stuff on the side.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's so technical and beautiful.
Yeah, that's why we can make something so precise and so symmetric, right? Look at the pattern of the marble coming down, always symmetric. Look at that.
Yeah, I have question too. How many FPS you have at final?
I
see many instances. Maybe this will optimize soon.
Yes, everything is instant. Like if you see, you can find, if you pay attention, you can find the same geometry being used in multiple places. So one thing is that the dynamic bodies, like the marbles and the gears, they are not instances, but then the geometry within is instanced. So, for example, like to be honest, I can count the number of elements, a number of assets I've actually used here. There's like a few cylindrical wooden bars, some like rectangular, cuboidal wooden bars, the corks, for the teeth of the gears. I think, Alexey, you had a similar gear. In fact, I was so fascinated. You exactly had kind of the same gear structure, using the same elements almost, like having the cork. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is pretty universal there. So in terms of performance with real time, because I had a lot of instances, I could run this at 105 FPS. Okay.
Wow.
But then when the physics kicked in, I mean, it had its own, physics calc, because I have more than 1,000 marbles here, and there are obviously so many points for the teeth to interact. But then what I did as an optimization step was I turned off the collision of anything that I found would not, which I planned should not interact with the marbles. Or which I thought, okay, I mean, I still had to later on go back and add collisions where I thought, oh, the marbles are penetrating through it. But then I switched off. Most of the geometry here actually does not have collision. Only where the floor is, where you can see the bed of the canal is, I've added collisions, and the tracks themselves have collisions. And then the pastels on the edge of the tracks have collisions. That's about it.
And collisions help you.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry?
I was just asking which graphics card you had.
I have a 2070.
2070. Thank you.
It's not the but
okay, and collisions help you for reduce memory, or not?
Sorry.
Disabling collisions help you for increasing.
I asked in the Discord chat on the Discord server, and yes, some of the engineers perhaps replied that it's. There is still a pass, even though it's optimized, the physics engine, I believe it's perfectly, I mean, it's amazing, but still, there is one check to see, oh, the collision for this geometry has been turned on. Is there perhaps something happening?
Yeah, so that it's actually called ball-face in there, right? So it's basically, even though you put it into the scene, right? Even though it's low collision, but we still need to. So a physics engine, how it works, it's kind of like we have the ball-face, right? So that will basically in the higher level to do a AABB check or whatever bounding box check about the object nearby. If those bounding box check it's overlap, and then we push it into something called Ludlow phase. So Ludlow phase is going to do the precise collision. For example, if I have the marble and the geometry is a triangle mesh in there, we will do the triangle mesh and the marble collision to calculate the contact point and penetration, and based on that, and then we push those data into the solver, and then we saw the impulse to push out to depenetrate the marble from the mesh in there. So yes, it still have some overhead in it, but if you as a user, right, as Usama. If you know which object is not collide with which, you don't need to put it into the physics engines. That will save you some performance.
Yeah. And I can always, because of the application is so amazing, I can always go back and just switch on the collision, and that's about it. So yeah.
One thing I would like to ask you: are you using the CPU or GPU code paths in this scene? Because in Omniverse, the render clearly is a GPU, right? However, the difference between Omniverse and the other engine is clearly we are a GPU platform, which is mean all the physics can run on GPU as well. So for our here, right, you're talking about thousands of marble, right? I believe we can actually do it in real time, even though you turn on all the collision. But
so the solver type I used. So the solver type I used was PGS, and the broad face type was for GPU.
Oh, you can't. I think you should do either both GPU or both CPU. That will, because if you one component in CPU, one component in GPU, you incur the cost for DMA the data between different components, right? So let's say I have the broad face in GPU, and then I do all the boundary in GPU, and then I DMA back the data to CPU for the solver, or vice versa, right? So that is not really a good way to do it. We would recommend either you run the whole pipeline in CPU or the whole pipeline in GPU. So you need to take on both phase GPU and then the GPU dynamic on as well. That is mean the solver and both phase both on GPU.
Oh yeah, that's
very insightful.
How this yeah.
Thanks a lot. That's very insightful.
No, I actually thank you for you, right? You found some issue with that when you build in all this amazing structure. So thank you. We are addressing your feedback, addressing all the technical detail in there.
Oh, absolutely. I have feedback too.
So I'm gonna now we're gonna look at Simon. Woo! So Simon is actually he is the second place winner in our Create with Marbles. And I'm just gonna post his picture to remind everyone the two karate robots. Yeah, it's absolutely
it's
gorgeous.
Amazing.
Yes.
Well, I want that as my background. So nice. How can I get it? It's so nice.
I will send you the folder that we pass around in NVIDIA. Yeah. Because everyone's working from home, we have all of these artwork pieces as our backgrounds. And we all have our favorite artists. So
I would like one of those. It's so amazing. Yeah.
Definitely beautiful. So I'm going to play his marvelous marble submission. Here we go. Now, Simon is one of, I think, two people that actually participated in both contests. He won second place in the first one. This one, he got an honorable mention, but it's just, I just love his stuff. The guy wearing the glasses, yeah, absolutely. So Simon,
Transformer.
Yeah. So Simon, out of curiosity, what was your biggest challenge with this machine?
With the machine, mm-hmm. The biggest challenge was time.
Oh yes, absolutely.
We understand you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't have a lot of time to. For the contest, but I really wanted to participate to the contest, and I did the contest overnight actually. So I didn't sleep for the whole night, so to finish the contest. So
I can't even believe.
So yeah, the big constraint was really time to do this thing. So, but still, for the machine, my goal was to do like a simple machine. Mm-hmm. I know you guys, you did awesome with all those intricacies and all those small detailed and thing. I really like, and that's something I did for the first contest with all the detail in my image. But I wanted to have like a different approach for my second contest, and to make like a very minimalistic and simple, one single marble going through one single thing. And so that's the concept behind my contribution for the machine contest, like very minimalistic with simple light and simple marble running through the whole thing. So
yeah, I just love actually I like his mustache. It's two wrenches.
Yes, that's
very
the wrenches. Yeah.
Very awesome.
Need legs and the hands.
I can't believe you did this in one night. But
yes, I did.
That's a pretty amazing, right?
Very ambitious.
One night.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do something like that. It's clearly, I mean, for me, low way, absolutely low way.
Yeah,
it's so amazing.
It's because it's very very fast to lay out something with Omniverse. It's very fast to have something, and it's because it's a GPU, it's real time, so it's working. And like the physics, okay, you put the marble and it's running through, it's working, and then next step, and I move on, and it's something else, and you can really lay out because the UI it's very simple, and it's very accessible, so you can do really fast with Create and Omniverse. That's something I really like about the new UI and the concept behind Omniverse, coming from different DCC, where you, like Maya, for example, in my case, where you spend like a couple of years before being comfortable with Maya and doing stuff.
Right.
But with Omniverse, in a couple of hours, if you know what you want to do, you can lay out and put your assets and objects, and that was also something really important with the Create with Marble, the concept of the contest, because you had access to all those beautiful assets, and they can work from any angle. You see, like the level of detail you have in the asset, it's perfect. So, like for example, with the painting tube, if you do a close-up of the painting tube, it has a lot of detail. It looks very good. So you just put all those assets together, and you have a really nice image. So again, it's just about your ID and the way you can lay out those assets, but really good regular thing from the contest.
I was just the dangling, is that a bridge hanging from his hat? Yeah,
it's a bridge. The idea was like the marble was coming from the top and going through the bottom, and so going through the whole body. That was the COVID.
Yeah.
It was like the title was the end of the COVID. So, and it's a loop.
Yeah.
If you play the video, it started from one point and finished in another point. But so it's like a never-ending thing with the COVID. That's why it's named the end of the COVID.
Yeah.
Never-ending.
I have some words about
never-ending COVID. Oh boy,
Yes.
I cannot wait for everyone to be healthy, and this is not a thing anymore, but yes.
The title's so deep today.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move over to Jeremy Lightcap. Jeremy has done tutorials for us. He is we talk to him all the time. He's always doing something interesting with Omniverse. And he's the third place winner of the Create with Marbles. I just love this scene. It looks like something that I would play with as a kid. You know, like a little Western scene. It's very nostalgic. The little paint bottles are people. I love it so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It's really colorful, right? And then, yeah, it's a kind of like make you think about childhood directly. It's warm. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, one of the very first things that I wanted to do when I was making this, as soon as I came up with the concept of the Western town, I immediately just started going through Pixar films and just grabbing screen
Yeah.
grabs of like the most colorful, most beautiful parts of scenes that I liked, and I have this enormous collage of reference photos. And so, yeah, I just picked a bunch of Pixar stills and tried to like, pick apart, what they were doing to make these like big key moments so impactful. So it was a really fun, test to see like how far I could push the lighting. And Create is just the perfect program for playing with lighting because it's just real time, it's instant, and I can make 100 different variations on the lighting with this scene. It's just so fun to get in there and play around with it.
So how do you work? Do you have are you making like a sketch first? Do you have a very good idea of what the final image will be, or do you build the scene?
So with this one, I think I spent total the entire project. I think I spent about 70 hours or so making this. And so I was in between freelance jobs, and I had the luxury of not working a full-time job and working just at night. But I still did work like really long days on it. But I just researched a bunch of Western towns and video games that had Western scenes, then the lighting, and then I basically started off the entire project by just making one of the houses. It was just, I think, the house on the right that has the clock on it. So I just made that one house, and once I kind of figured out the right scale for everything and how the pieces could twine with one another, then I really just started building a bunch of different houses. And then I made a street, and the original idea was to have a shootout. So like, having one of the ink bottles fell over and he's kind of spilling out stuff. But then I was like, it might be a little too dark and a little too hard to see because, we could only submit one picture. And then so I, filled in the background with the town. And then I would basically render something out before I went to bed, and then I would wake up and I would kind of sketch over that rendering and just be like, oh, the composition's a little weak over here. I could add some details over here, make this bigger, make that smaller. And so there was a bit of sketching involved, but it was mostly for compositional sake. And then once I figured out the camera angle that I wanted to work with, I built the entire, like all the lighting and all the characters around that one single camera angle. Which is where my biggest suggestion for the developers was to please let us have 2 viewports, because it would be great to just have your camera set and then be able to move objects around and then go back and look at your camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was my process.
Absolutely, yeah. I know the developers are working on that and trying to get that out as soon as possible because it's just silly that we can't have more than one viewport, but that is definitely in process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. And about developers, I think we need to adding something like attribute editor for massive attributes editing for all meshes. As example, you can just select all objects and massive change from 4K to 2K resolution of texture. This will be helpful.
Okay. Yeah. No. I know they implemented the switch between 2K and 4K kind of like halfway into the contest. But yeah, absolutely. I will make sure that we have a note on that one.
And about Simon, I have some words about your scene because it inspires me to one idea. Just imagine Inner's as in school exhibit of the human body and scene, not head, but this can be a nice idea, I think. And create mechanisms insert this body. This looks like Inspector Gadget. Maybe you remind this movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
And when people open this body of this inspector, we see super futuristic mechanisms that looks super.
Yeah, that was one of the idea. I wanted to have like a full body, with all the inside of the organs inside and like the marble going through through the organs, and that would be. But again, time was a constraint, so I didn't finish this thing. But yeah, that was an idea. So maybe that's something I can do later on. But that was.
It needs many GPU memory.
Yeah.
For textures, yes.
So I'm gonna move on. I think we've got 4 honorable mentions for the contest, and since they're not here, we're gonna look at it and be amazed. So this is Giff. I hope I said his name right. Giff Ransome. So right away you're like, wow, the emissive material on these marbles is insane, but when you follow them through the course like this, it's so fun to watch.
It's like a drone following somebody.
Yeah. I especially love this camera which follows the marbles.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's very dynamic. It really gives you an impression you're inside the scene, so it's very immersive.
And marbles leaves this trail of light. Interesting how FTX looks.
That's so cool.
Yeah, at final we see whole city, temple. Really nice. Remind me Age of Empires sometimes.
All right, our next is Cheng Lei. This one's super cool. I love this one. So the bucket fills up and then spills over.
Nice idea of dropping objects. Really cool.
Just falling through. Oh, they have chairs. It's piled on chairs, I think.
Oh my god. How many chairs?
So that's this little dragon part.
Oh wow.
It's not little, actually. It's humongous. It's my favorite part.
Yeah, really nice dragon.
Whoa.
Oh, how many pieces in this work? How many GPU memory in this one? I can't imagine, guys.
A lot.
In this scene, he even used foil as well, right? So the outside the torch, the fight, it's the real fight simulation in there as well. It's really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And so our next honorable mention is Hadland. Here we go. So Luke, I mean, I'm not sure if that's what he's going for, but I feel like a tree house in the jungle kind of theme.
I love this tree idea of green props. That background looks fantastic.
And all of the paint bottles make up the landscape. It's really, really cool.
Did you see? It was like a face was crying when marbles move from track near eyes.
Yeah, it's like a teardrop.
A teardrop. Let me see if I can move this around, because the face showed up toward the end, I think. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's watch that. Oh yeah. That's cool.
You spotted?
Yeah.
Oh, there?
for this scene, I think need to reflect it marbles because right now they just looks like transparent because we have a big green background at bottom.
Yeah.
I think will be better with reflected metal marbles.
So what is the concept about this scene? So it's kind of like a build up a human and then have the teardrop. So marble represent the teardrop. Is that the?
Could be. I haven't. I haven't had an opportunity to chat with Luke yet.
Yeah, it will be good if Luke is here, right? So we can just ask him the concept of it. Yes, you're right there.
Just marbles. It is real Lego.
And we have one.
And
more.
You can build faces.
I just think it blows my mind that you guys can make things that are not what the object already is, like make paint bottles into people and make buildings out of rulers and I know Jeremy Lightcap just blew up a huge marble for the balloon over the sky.
Yeah.
We have one more honorable mention, Tim Carrillo.
I think for Omniverse we can create or adding something with booleans objects and triple NR materials placement maybe in future. This will be nice because sometimes I need booleans for some things.
Oh yes, yes.
And Michelle, do you think we could see with the physics and like more presets in the future? Because, for example, with like say fire,
Yep.
I don't really have. Okay, let's say I don't really have time to set up like a gas fire and to go into. And so, do you think we could see more presets in the physics or?
What do you know? In Omniverse, we already have an extension. It's called Flow, right? So in the Flow extension, yeah, you enable that, and then inside have a logs of emitter. So you just need to choose your emitter and then put it into the right place, and then it's got logs of different setting on the property window. So you just need to adjust the effect you want to achieve. So at the moment, we can simulate a different kind of fire. The small one is just like candle, but you want a combustible fire, just like the mushroom cow or something, you are able to do so in Omniverse already. So it's for this release, right? We also made the soft body simulation available in Create as well. So if your guys have time and then go to play with it and then give us some feedback. And also we're working on the particle simulation, right? So we have the TED ready in VSET. So now we just need to do the bring up the integration into Omniverse, so make it more user friendly. So such as now I have a cup and you want to fill up the water of it, and we just create different UI and then let the artist or engineer so just choose the type of emitter they want and then put it into the cup and then we can simulate it. I don't know whether your guy look into the previews extension of the Create. So in there, we show you a skeleton hand manipulating a cup, right? So that's that is showing our soft body, rigid body, and also the fluid dynamic. And so please go to play with it and give us some feedback. So I think we will have a lot more visual effect kind of simulation coming to Omniverse really soon.
Oh, it's just simple. You can just get a candle, adding light, and place pastel instead of fire with yellow color, as I did in my sim. And I have some words about Omniverse colliders or collisions. Maybe in future we will can use triangulated collisions in rigged bodies or not.
Use what kind of collision?
I mean, right now, if you have a rigid body And if your rigid body have a triangulated collision, you can't use it for revolute joint, for example, because I have a burning notice from Omniverse, and I can do this. And I can only use what names I don't remember, simple collisions with generation.
Okay. Well, again, right? You know my name and then you know my email, so please shoot me an email and describe your requests, right? And in a little bit more precise form, so we can iterate through it. But if you have any requirement, right, can help us to improve the user experience, we are always welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And these, what our customers ask us are the priority. That's how we schedule our products. So it's really important to us. Your feedback means a lot. And I believe that's it. I've got.
Oh, I feel sad now.
I want to make sure that our viewers are aware of the available resources that we have. We have a public roadmap on Trello that is actually updated by the project lead. We have forums. Forums are a great place for tech questions. Alexey, like your question about improving features or adding features, it's a great place to go. The developers are on there daily. You will get a response same day, probably within a few hours of your posting. We're on YouTube. We have NVIDIA On Demand for tutorials, USD, all kinds of really cool stuff. We just released a new USD tutorial that actually has interactive code visualization, so you can go in there and actually practice with code when you're using your USDs, and it's made for anybody. So developer, artist, engineer, anybody can go in there and learn from the USD tutorial. And then of course our gallery page. Anything that anyone has created for us in Omniverse, we put it on the gallery page because we are so happy and proud of all the stuff that our community makes. And let's see here. Oh, next episode. Let me get all of us up here. Next episode, we're going to be talking about the developer resources and the ecosystem, and that will be with Amelia and Vincent. They're terrific people. It's going to be awesome. Very knowledgeable about the ecosystem and the things that we can do with it in Omniverse. And I want to thank all of you for joining me here today. It's been awesome. I love the feedback. I'm so glad you guys have fun with Omniverse, and please keep playing with it. Please enter contests and let us know what's going on. You can get on the forums, you can email us, whatever. We're always available, and I'm just so happy to have all you guys here. We love you.
I'm so happy to see you guys face to face as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
I bought a camera for this. This is the first web camera in my life.
Well, you are the second winner, right? So, yay.
We will. Yeah. We will always, you're always welcome to come to any of our live streams, any of our demos. We'll always be sending you emails so that you can be aware of them. Take advantage of it. And I really appreciate you guys being here. And from everyone at NVIDIA and all of our watchers, thank you for spending time with us today. It's been awesome. We appreciate you, and thank you for using Omniverse.
Yeah, we're extremely grateful for you guys spend so much time to build in all this amazing scene. Everyone can see it. Congratulations to all of you.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Thanks a lot, Wendy. It was amazing having a chat with you guys here.
Oh yes, absolutely. It was thrilling. Actually, it was very insightful.
Wendy's speechless now. Okay.
All right. Thank you and take care.
Bye now. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.